Yeah, we're seeing the idea of Oliver going from one thing to another, and the lasting imprint on this season, and the lasting imprint on however many seasons that we do, is Tommy's death, and what Tommy thought of Oliver when he died, and that informs every single decision that Oliver makes going forward.
Tommy is dead.
Tommy's dead.
There's a lot made of the fact that Oliver will kill people who might not deserve it, and Tommy is sort of one of those people who died on the wayside that is questionably, in the middle. Do you think that will affect the way he sees killing people who might not be so guilty?
We take some time between season 1 and season 2, take about a 5-month break. We've been pretty honest with the timeline of season 1 basically took place over the course of a year. When we took our break between episode 9 and 10, we took about 6 weeks because we were 6 weeks in between being on air. And we take roughly 5 months, and again, Tommy, one of the last things that he called me was a murderer. And that doesn't sit lightly on me. And that informs everything that I do going forward and how I go about doing things.
What excites you the most about this?
DC Comics was DC Entertainment was our they were our partner. We're part of the DC universe, but having had a season under our belt and having had success with that first season, they are partners with a capital P and maybe an exclamation point. And it's a really good opportunity for us. We're going to unveil some things today at the panel, but we are part of the DC universe, and we're going to exploit that, as we should. And then the second thing for me, exciting-wise, is when the writers were writing the first season, they were writing 13 episodes. And we were figuring out what the series was, because you shoot almost 10 episodes before anyone sees it. And what people see and what people react to are a critical instrument in the series. So I'm excited that the writers this year are writing for 23 episodes. And there's a plan. Not that there wasn't before, but there is everything's a verse in a song, and season 2 is a verse, and they were telling me the island stuff. The present day stuff is a little bit more open for interpretation, but the island stuff, because that's a finite amount of time, the season 2 chapter of that is set.
So how grueling is that? It looks like the island stuff is much more grueling than the present day.
It's tough stuff to shoot.
Yeah.
The island stuff in episode 1 it might be my favorite stuff in the entire series so far, because we find Oliver, again, 5 months later, on the island, doing stuff that he doesn't normally do, namely smiling. He's, Fire's men are dead. They're still on the island, but resigned to it, perhaps. And we find him almost in a happy place, which is strange. But the island stuff is grueling to shoot. It is. We shot on Thursday island stuff, and it was 78 degrees and sunny. Atypical. It's almost always 41 degrees and raining, which is the worst weather on the planet, by the way. I'd rather it be 7 degrees and snowing and dry than 40 degrees and damp. But
does it feel sometimes like you're filming 2 shows? You're the only person who's going back and forth between these 2 spots.
Am I?
Maybe not. But because it's a whole different storyline, it's a whole different place in the character's head. What is that transition like day to day when you're shooting to make that?
I'll tell you, the island stuff keeps me everything. It keeps me grounded. The director of our second episode has a very funny line. He's British, and he's a little bit Nick Hopus, and he's a little bit. He's not rough. He's just more blunt than maybe our American directors are. And sometimes he'll come up to me and he'll say, "Hey, do me a favor, yeah, Nick. Say this line like you've never said it before." Okay, yeah. And then and then you go back. The good thing about playing Oliver on the island is we know he's such a different person that when I play Oliver in the present day, standing up straight, puffing my chest, making sure that the register of my voice is where it should be. When I go to the island, I get to let all of that stuff go. I get to play the character with no ego whatsoever, and it's like a different show. It's really neat, and I hope that more people have to be a part of that show because it really is it's like a different show.
Which character would you most like to see on the show from the comic universe?
The Flash. The Flash is cool. I think the Flash could be done in a cool way. It's good? They're not moving me yet. You guys can ask another question.
Can you tell us something? What was the most difficult thing for you to shoot? What was the most embarrassing thing for you to shoot? And what was the most fun?
I don't know what the most difficult thing was. The episode 14, The Odyssey, which was very island heavy, that was a bear. That was 3 days. It was the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday before our Christmas break. And we were in a park, and it was just, the weather was the first day the weather was terrible, and the next day it was worse, and that was pretty tough. The most embarrassing thing in episode 22, last day, I picked up Katie for the smooching scene in episode 22, and you're going to see this in the blooper reel, and I'm supposed to lower her on the bed, and I missed, and I wiped out big time, and the crew was dead silent, and I looked at them like, guys, I'm fine, you can laugh now. And they laughed. Anyway.